Another mass shooting in America, this time in Oregon. 10 people are dead, 7 injured after 26-year-old Chris Harper Mercer opened fire at Umpqua Community College in Oregon.
Active shooter at UCC, 1140 Umpqua College Road.
Confirmed report that he's got a long gun.
We just dropped everything and we ran. And when we ran out of the building, everybody went every which way. It was so chaotic. And I think we were the first class to know that something was up because everybody else was still in their classes. And as we were running by, we were telling people, you have to get out.
Somebody is outside one of the doors, shooting through the door. There is a female in the computer lab. We do have one female that has been shot at this time.
The saddest day in the history of the college. The college just celebrated its 50th anniversary recently, and this is a tragedy.
He's in a classroom on it's going to be the southeast side of the hall. The suspect is down. We've got multiple gunshot wounds. We're going to need multiple ambulances on scene.
Our thoughts and prayers are with the victims and their families. We are holding the community of Douglas County in our hearts today.
The gunman, Harper Mercer, was armed with 3 weapons, handguns, and at least 1 long gun. President Barack Obama spoke to the country, and he was angry, he was passionate as he demanded the need for common sense gun laws.
Our thoughts and prayers are not enough. It's not enough. It does not capture the heartache and grief and anger that we should feel. And it does nothing to prevent this carnage from being inflicted someplace else in America. You know, earlier this year I answered a question in an interview by saying, the United States of America is the one advanced nation on earth in which we do not have sufficient common sense gun safety laws, even in the face of repeated mass killings. And later that day, there was a mass shooting at a movie theater in Lafayette, Louisiana. That day. Somehow this has become routine. The reporting is routine. My response here at this podium ends up being routine. The conversation in the aftermath of it, we've become numb to this. May God bless the memories of those who were killed today. May He bring comfort to their families and courage to the injured as they fight their way back. And may He give us the strength to come together and find the courage to change.
President Obama also demanded that the media also tell a different story. He said, compare the last 10 years, how many folks have died due to terrorism and how many folks have died in gun violence. Well, if you look at the numbers, some 3,300 people have died since 9/11 due to terrorism in the last 5, folks, that was since 9/11, okay? That's more than 10 years. In the last 5 years, 44,000 people have died due to guns in the United States. We also saw what happened in Chicago last couple of weeks. Murders up 20% from last year. Also, Milwaukee has seen a 76% jump, and St. Louis homicides up 60%. You had 50 folks shot last weekend in Chicago. And so will this country finally confront the reality that we are a violent nation that for some reason is in love with guns? Joining us right now, Lauren Victoria Burke, managing editor, Politic365.com, A. Scott Bolden, attorney with Reed Smith LLP, Jefferson Nuri, CEO of In the Public Eye Communications, and Dr. Jason Johnson, political analyst. So folks, what's interesting is you see folks who jump to the left and to the right, but the reality is a bullet does not discern your political party or ideology.
Right. Yeah, we certainly have become a killing society. It really is. I'm a former prosecutor. I investigated homicides in New York several years ago, and we are a killing society. With the mass murders that we've been seeing during Barack Obama's period, more than any other presidential period, that he's had to stand up and do that routine piece.
15 times.
Is right, absolutely, more than any other president. The reality is that the majority of murders that take place in the United States are between people who know each other. Right. The mass murders are the ones that are indiscriminate, And if it's an indiscriminate other than a mass murder, it's really hard to prosecute or even find the killer. We've got to do common sense gun laws that take guns or prevent people who have mental illness, diagnosed or not, from getting guns and access to guns. And every state has different laws, but from a federal law standpoint, we need to have uniform laws that the states cannot undermine. So if you're out west, then you can have 10 guns with a red laser, and in D.C. it's hard to own 1 gun. We need federal uniform gun laws so that the states can't have this up and down to this inconsistency.
But the reality is the most powerful lobby in America is a National Rifle Association, and everybody in this town and even state politicians are scared of the NRA.
Spend $3 million in 1 calendar year. This is the result you get. Quite frankly, I think the politicians are afraid of the NRA.
They may be, but the mass murders
they're afraid of the gun lobby.
That.
And until we fix that, we're going to get this over and over again. There's just no doubt about it. Until we fix the lobbying arm and break that and somehow get people out of office that won't have gun restrictions, we are going to be having this conversation again and again and again.
You know,
Sandy Hook proved that.
You know, we're all old enough to remember that every single holiday weekend, whether that was Memorial Day or 4th of July or Labor Day, where we accepted hundreds of people would be killed on the roads. We accepted that drunk driving was a normal thing in our society. And it wasn't about politicians shifting, it was about us shifting. It's about us saying, as a culture, as the citizens, do you know this gun thing has to change? We can't get in there, whether you're black or white or left or right, and say, I must have the right to own 12 guns. Or I must have the right to get drunk on 4th of July weekend. We've got to shift how we feel about guns, and we've got to say to our politicians, we want to stop this.
But I think one of the impressive things about what the president did yesterday is when he laid out, look, I want you to report on this differently. I want you to start talking about the fact that, you know, let's compare this to how terrorism is covered. Let's compare this to how many other countries this is happening to on a regular basis. Because I was just looking at this when I was writing about this yesterday. I'm so tired of seeing the same generic tweets every time this happens. 12 politicians, hearts are with. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter anymore. The way it's just what Lauren said. On the one hand, we have to do something about lobbying, which is something that Congress is going to have to get involved with. And 2, we have to change the way that we report about it. We have to change the way this is contextually discussed. And that was one of the things that I appreciated about the president's exasperation yesterday. Exactly. We can't keep talking about this in the same way, because apparently just talking about dead children isn't enough to motivate people. We need to put this in context of other issues.
But we also have to confront this just utter BS with people who somehow believe that the Second Amendment says that literally anybody at any time can have any type of gun. I'm sorry, a gun should not be easy to get. Right. It shouldn't be. I mean,
you have 310 million privately owned guns, and you have people still saying that we should be selling more. That's what has to be attacked. Frankly, I don't think the reporting on it. You know, Vox has been doing some great reporting on this, and a lot of people have been going there on this. I mean, there's an expletive related hashtag that comes out with regard to the NRA when these things happen, and it gets right to the point. I don't think it's the reporting; it's the lobbying. It is the political pressure, and until that changes,
let me just say this: the Second Amendment isn't going anywhere. The NRA, with all due respect, isn't going anywhere. We've got to find a way to make it difficult. Well, but that's what I'm about to. You're waiting for me. We've got to make it more difficult for politicians and elected officials to be intimidated by the NRA. We got to strengthen our own lobby and make it difficult for them to do it, and make it difficult for them to get elected if they aren't for common sense gun laws.
Exactly. The voter has
because we can control that.
That's
right. We can't control the NRA or the Second Amendment.
That NRA political arm is something that has to be replicated on the left to counter them, and that hasn't really happened.
You can't make their lobby illegal. You can't eliminate them.
You have to figure out who you actually want to target as well, because it's not just, you know, it's not just that every single no one's going to say they're in favor of mass shootings, right? I mean, they all say it's mass shootings. The argument comes in when people say, well, this isn't how you fix it. So we have to actually target who are the specific individuals in the House in this one.
I mean, you want me to name names?
Yeah, that's true.
But here's the other piece. Here's the other piece that we also have to deal with, and that is, this is where individuals come in. So when you look at the shootings taking place in Chicago. And see, and so here's the game. Here's the game, because, you know, I blasted Stephen Hayes on Fox News. I used to work with him at CNN, but he was pathetic. He was atrocious by saying yesterday the president was using Oregon as a distraction from the last 36 hours and what's happening in Syria. I'm like, Stephen, shut the hell up. No, he sounded like a damn idiot. But here's the thing we have to deal with, and that is the right wants to bring up, oh, what about Chicago, as a counter to when this happens.
Right.
But we also have to confront the fact that, and I have no problem, and people get mad when they say, oh, National Guard or roadblocks or security checkpoints. If you're seeing a mother in Chicago simply getting out of her car after coming back from an event, and she shot and killed along with her child by somebody doing a drive-by, you got to also have police presence to have checkpoints, searching cars, taking guns off. Right. If folks are carrying illegally, because we could talk about a mass shooting, one event at a college in Oregon where a guy allegedly said, what's your religion? I'm a Christian, shoot him in the head. But when you have individuals who are being shot and killed for no reason at all, and we have to be willing to say, as a community, damn it, we don't like that either.
Absolutely.
Check them, go after him, go after them, and get the guns off the street.
But that road leads back to access to guns. See, that road leads back to the fact that it's easy to access guns, and it leads back to politicians bought by the NRA.
But so, I want law enforcement to not just go after the gun and checkpoints to get the guns off the street. I want them to go after the killers and the shooters before you even get the gun. And see, that's the difference. Some countries go after, we're so busy looking for bombs and guns. We need to look for the people who are actually doing the shootings and the killings, and that's preventive crime, criminal justice. And our culture as a police culture is not there yet. We still are reactionary. We get a call, the police get a call, and they go do the arrest and do the investigation. Why do they have to get the call? Why don't we prevent crime in our community?
And of course, the president said yesterday, he said, look, when something happens with our bridges, we fix it. Something happens with terrorism, we fix it. Why is it every time Americans are killed in any other area, we fix it, but we run and say, when it comes to guns? And you would have thought after Sandy Hook, well, kids been killed, and this is why I said, people got mad, I said, you know what? Show those photos.
You know,
on a regular basis.
Show the result. That's why when it comes to these cops gone wild, when folks always say, edit the video, no, I'm like, no. Show the whole video, because we need to see it to force folks to say this actually happened.
And for folks to be embarrassed about it, for folks to be upset about it. And I agree. I heard David Simon give a speech about this. You know, one of the best things you can do in community is sort of the retroactive capture of people who've committed crimes, because that actually increases people's faith that the police are actually going to do their job.
Psychologically.
Yeah, psychologically. But it's also multi-tiered. When you look at this particular individual, okay, this kid looked like he was disturbed for a very, very long time.
Absolutely.
And you have to go, and I think we should start looking at possible prosecution. If you can go after a bartender, you know, for serving people who are obviously drunk, we need to start going after, we should go after NRA and go after people who are selling guns to crazy people.
And as the president said, Congress is blocking them from even recording,
because you
getting
can
the information.
Make the NRA liable for the gun, and they block that.
There's at least 7
20
bills.
seconds, real quick.
At least 7 bills on Capitol Hill, on the Senate and the House side, on mental health care. And some of it on how we can handle this ahead of it. And that legislation is not moving.
Well, that's because you need some mental health care with Congress. When we come back, we're going to talk about the issue of criminal justice reform. Can a Senate bill get with a House bill to actually do something about criminal justice in this country? Plus, the NYPD, guess what? They're saying it's time to actually monitor physical force. Hey, Bill O'Reilly, guess what? Black Lives Matter are the ones made this happen, so give them some credit. Yeah, I thought so. You too, John McWhorter, and the rest of y'all. I'll deal with y'all when we come back. News 1 now, TV 1.